Though it is International Women's Day, but let us take it as a genderless human day also. And we couldn't agree with you more. But because we stand here with a pronounced gender dimension by saying this is International Women's Day also. So let me ask this question. These transformations that you said, I'm sure you have met also women in that prison. And did you find you talked about a realization, you talked about a change that you perceived in them. Can you share with us your experience with the women prisoners? And was it any different from the men?
The women don't want to express too much. They don't want to share their lives too much.
Right.
Easily. Yes, they started opening up to me. But I also feel that, you know, it is very difficult for them to go back to normal life once they're released, because not only will the society point a finger, it is also the families. And the families don't reject them because they don't love them anymore, but it is again the pressure of the society. So when I talked about metamorphosis, I spoke about the society's metamorphosis as well. You know, because stigmatizing somebody on a gender basis is, you know, the men are accepted back because they are, at the end of the day, because as I said, they come from very humble background. They are the bread earners. Whereas the women have been there, and mostly due to domestic violence, they may have gone in there. And I just want to share one story with you. And it's a big question to all of us as to who is guilty. This girl of mine who had 2 daughters, and well, because she had 2 daughters, she was tortured mentally, sometimes physically, and the 2 children were not given enough to eat, maybe 1 meal a day. So out of sheer frustration, one day she tried to end their lives as well as hers. She jumped into the river, and the 2 children died, but she survived. Now she's serving a term, and but this big question, who is actually guilty? So it is difficult for women, even now, especially, you know, for them. We are the privileged ones, we have education, we come from a different society where we can stand up for ourselves, but I think we should think for these less privileged women.
Right. So,
yeah. About glass ceiling in India, I have a couple of observations when I hear about this. One is glass ceiling. This very term was invented in US to describe the phenomenon that in corporate houses, ladies are not allowed to go beyond a level. If you look at the Indian subcontinent, at least the times in which I grew up and almost the time when Madam you too grew up, the Indian subcontinent was ruled by Banda Naik in the south, Madam Indira Gandhi in the middle. Pakistan had Benazir Bhutto, and in the later years we have had Bangladesh ruled only by.
Person asked if you don't mind, could you make the question short?
Yes, but without this example, the question does not make sense. So we have had women president. Our prime minister reports to a woman. US did not have a single woman president. Is glass ceiling really relevant for India? Do we really have glass ceiling?
I'm speaking from the perspective of women in science and engineering research. Have we had a director of IIT who was a woman? Have we had a director of IISc who was a woman? Have we had the scientific council to the prime minister headed by a woman? No. In fact, from a personal experience, I often wonder that in these 59 years, I think this year we will have the 59th batch graduating from IIT Kharagpur. There have been only 2 women toppers. So what you're saying is in the political scenario, but in terms of actual fields, there is still a lot to be achieved. And we really need to wonder what is bullying.
Thank you. The next question.
To Shahadaman, and to talk about secular education and purely secular education. And you were relating it to the accidents of students carrying guns into their institutions in Western countries. So I just want to know, how do you relate it?
No, the context is completely different. What I was at that time explaining was what would happen in our society if it was made only permissive. If spiritual knowledge is not at all brought into our educational setup, if only this knowledge is given that by a human being we mean body and mind, then no form of spiritual education, spiritual idea will filter into the education system. What will happen by that is you become more and more body oriented, more and more selfish. There's a very beautiful book called The Selfish Gene, in which it is written that the more body oriented you are, the more narrow your outlook becomes. You start thinking of happiness in terms of only satisfying yourself. You will never think of the other person. What is it that makes me think of the other person? It is spiritual knowledge. When I know my own inner being and his inner being is common, he is me in another form, I am him in another form, then naturally I start feeling this concept of sympathy, empathy, service, all that comes in when we are able to find that common factor, and that lies in the spirit, because his body and mind, we are different. So it was in this context that I said, we need to combine the essences, we need to combine some amount of spiritual knowledge along with our secular sciences. That is the point.
Thank you.
See, we always talk about empowerment. The question is that power always needs to exploit itself. I give you a simple example. In most of the programs, you find that the actors are always taking more time than the screen.
Not in this case.
It is primarily, it is a demerit for having a power. Now, why don't we talk about that how to make the people rational? Because ultimately, you see, powerful people harm the society more. And the rational people really does good to the society.
Rational people?
Rational people.
Yes, of course.
So we should concentrate on rationalizing the people rather than empowering them.
Yes, rationalizing people is not contradictory to Vedantic ideas. In fact, Vedanta is a very rational philosophy.
Do you agree with me or not?
Yes, absolutely. We need rational people only, because half emotionally charged, this soda water emotionalism, it will not get you anywhere.
And what we require, whether we require good mothers for the better society or good engineers.
Excellent question. Excellent question. Yes. You see, we first require very good mothers, there's no doubt about it, but the mother can be an engineer also.
Questions? At the back.
My question is to Martina. In our India, where problems of home violence and rape and other problems are there, don't you think there should be a workshop like self-defense for women, so that they, if they are mentally strong, they should be physically strong also to fight and act?
Yes, definitely yes. And in different parts of West Bengal, we have been organizing workshops and counseling sessions with NGOs, not only to sensitize the woman, make her mentally and physically strong, but also at the same time sensitizing the people around her, including our officers. For example, when a woman who is victimized in a particular circumstance walks into a police station, how should the officer behave with her? How should the doctor in the primary health center behave with her, what is her mental state at that point of time. So these are all being considered, and it's not something which is happening right now. It has been happening for quite some years, maybe a decade or so, where workshops, seminars, sensitization programs are being organized.
Fact remains that most of the population are still ignorant of the fact that there are some self-defense workshops where they can see.
Not so much ignorant as I see it now, because large number of women, they participate, and also you have heard the term Lok Adalat now. Lok Adalat, when it is being held, at the same time legal awareness camps are being held in the different districts and in the different town areas, where the participation has been quite in huge numbers. So it's gradually growing, but you really can't say that 100% of the women are knowledgeable and aware. And in this context, I would like to just differ with the gentleman before, when he said that empowerment leads to exploitation. I think I don't agree, because you see, everything has its positives and negatives. Empowerment leads to more benefits, lesser exploitation.
That is, empowerment in the wrong hands might lead to exploitation. Are there other questions that I can see? At least yes. Thank you very much. Can that? Okay. Okay, Ananya.
My question is to Vidya Prana Mataji. You are saying that there is a need of good mother. Mother to who? Because in Indian context, my daughter should be the queen in her household, but my daughter-in-law should be the servant. This is the normal mindset. So mother to who? Only to your child or only to others' child? Yes, this is a very important question. You see, the idea of motherliness, it means a certain amount of growth in a woman, inner growth, by which she is able to accept each and every person as a mother would, with love, care, solicitude. When a mother, you see, when she actually does tyag, that is when she actually sacrifices something for the child, she doesn't take it as a sacrifice, because the child is part of my being. I'm doing it for myself, she takes it like that. So this drishti towards everyone, towards others, whether it is daughter and daughter-in-law or a third person, this development comes with spiritual growth. That is the point. That is why we are stressing on these concepts. You see, when there is inner evolution, naturally this perspective comes. Otherwise, a woman can be a mother of 1 or 2 or maybe 3. And it stops there, full stop. But if you see, read Holy Mother's life, you will see this drishti towards everyone. How is it possible? Sometime I worked in the West, and there this question was asked, that how is it possible for Sharda Ma to love each person as her own child? It is possible when your heart expands to that extent, and that expansion of heart, that inner growth comes with spirituality. That is why the need to stress these concepts. There is another one point also, how do we develop this spirituality? We are common people, we are not gods and goddesses. How do we develop this spirituality? It starts with a very simple equation, which all of you need to know, whether we are men or women. Please come here and start my PowerPoint, because there is a 4th and 5th slide, which I thought in case it comes up in the interaction session, I would like to show you how exactly we will be able to develop these thoughts which we are, otherwise it will remain the periphery, it will appear impractical, that I am the Atman and how does it affect society. You see, in that, please go to the 4th slide, please. Yes, you see, how is it that we change the contents of our mind, we change our attitudes, how do we become more motherly? For that, you see, just this picture, it is a picture of your mind. The iceberg which is popping out of the ocean, that is your conscious mind. At the tip of the iceberg, the huge iceberg is underwater, that is your subconscious mind. Please go to the next slide. Yes. You see, that is the iceberg. and this is the ocean. Now what happens is, this law states, what you continue to see, you internalize and you finally become. So if you continue to see great people, good things, good impressions will fall in the mind. What happens is, the first thing that you see goes are the sense impressions, that rose, the tree, falling on the conscious mind. What happens is, it creates vrittis, modifications in the mind, thought forms. And then when you keep on taking this kind of input, then it goes into the subconscious, it becomes samskaras. They become very fixed impressions in your mind. So that even when the sense exposure is not there, the samskaras sprout into vrittis. When you close your eyes, different thoughts come to your mind. Why? Because those samskaras are within. Now, how is it that these samskaras are created? They are created from the conscious mind only. You see, what you take in through the senses, what you see, what you hear, what you feel, what you are exposed to through the media, all these impressions, they are creating the contents of your mind. So if you keep on seeing only what is good, hearing what is good, see the lives of noble people, be inspired with great things, not cheap things, then naturally your mind becomes pure. Naturally your subconscious changes. Naturally good samskaras arise. Conscious good vrittis will sprout in your mind. This is the way to change the contents of our mind. This is the way to change our attitudes. Motherliness and all these qualities will come when our sense impressions are pure, when our thinking is good, when our subconscious has become truly noble. And then we will be able to manifest these characteristics which you are asking for.
Hope that answers your question. So this was a motherhood that is acquired, not just all of a sudden gotten. I think we heard about this kind of a transformational motherhood, where the motherhood is distributed over everybody. In Alokana Rai's speech also, she described how she became a mother to people who are completely unrelated, to people who are social peripherals. I saw a question in the second row, yes please, and then we'll come to you. Please hold the microphone closer.
I have a question for Professor Susmita Surpare as well as ma'am. I think it was ma'am the same question. I'm sure in your professional life you must be coming across the so-called glass ceiling. The glass ceiling.
Glass ceiling.
Glass ceiling.
Seal, the glass ceiling. I think the question was asked also by Professor Ross.
I rephrase in a sense. Do you ever, come across a situation where you think that you should be given a due value which you are not given because you are a woman? And how do you, address that situation in your own terms?
Yes. Can I give a question? Well, in my personal experience, it happened twice. I was asked to be the dean of our institute, but at that point of time, my daughter was in high school and planning to go into college. Those are times which framed her career. So I decided to decline the invitation. So these kinds of situations are there, but those are personal choices. On the other hand, there have been cases where I have seen very able and competent women around me, whom I know personally, who would have been a very good leader, but for some reason, whether it was lack of enough so-called networking or for whatever perception there was, she was not offered the leadership. So this is what I feel happens very often in many cases. And I think Ms. Ghosh pointed to it from the criminal point of it, but even when it is not criminal, even in our career path, these conceptions of society do affect